I left Whitehorse in Yukon territory in late August 2018. I'd arranged to meet up with an old friend from home who was coming over to join me for a week in the Rocky Mountains. We'd set a date to meet in Banff, around 1,500 miles away. I had just over 3 weeks to get there, across the endless boreal forests of Yukon, British Columbia and Alberta. First, I followed the Alaska Highway, before turning south down the lonely Stewart Cassiar Highway. Then I turned east again on the Yellowhead Highway, and finally up and over the Rockies on the Icefields Parkway.
In the corner of the room, the junkyard full with eyes of gloom. I asked him time again, take me in and draw the rain. Take me in and draw the rain. Take me in and draw the rain.
So I'm on the Cassiar Highway, about 4 days now out of Whitehorse. Beautiful day. I have to say, yesterday I came onto this road, the Cassiar Highway, and for the first 80 kilometers, very dull. I mean, a really narrow green tunnel between trees, between the forest. Couldn't see anything, and it was dreary weather as well, so I was not feeling very inspired. Briefly considered turning back and getting back onto the Alaska Highway, because the views were pretty good there. There was more traffic, but the views were good. But yeah, by the 80 kilometer mark, somewhere around Good Hope Lake, boom, everything opened up. We started tracking up through the Cassiar Mountains, which is where I am now. And yeah, now I see why it was recommended so highly. Let's take a look down here. I think we're going to get a good view of this mountain. So on a side note to that, I was actually discouraged from doing this route. Several times people tried to tempt me with the idea to take the Marine Highway and cut out this long section through BC on the basis that it was boring and it was going to be the same as stuff that I'd already seen. But I have to say, boo sucks to that. I could ride through this for months. The sun's out like this is beautiful. Just what I hoped for from BC. So this is early September now. I guess we're into fall. Pretty warm day today. Fine for shorts and a shirt. Freezing at night. My water bottles froze last night and the night before. But on the upside, the leaves are starting to turn colour. Over there we have a black bear. There were 2 cubs there a moment ago. They ran off. This one doesn't seem too concerned. Looking right at me. Hello, bear. Off she goes. So I'm just leaving Jasper, heading on to the Icefields Parkway. And this doesn't look much like the Icefields Parkway, you might be thinking, but just over there is a ticket barrier. To ride the road I have to pay $15. That doesn't sound like much like my cup of tea, so I'm going to take this mountain bike trail, but no way I'm going to get the bike up there with the bags on. So taking the bags off, whoop! Let's see if I can even push it up without the bags on now, just the tent. Better this, I hope, than $15 just to ride the road in the rain. Whoa, there's your traction. Apparently that's the only obstacle that I'm going to have to dismount for. Although having said that, it's wet, and it looks okay here because it's kind of sandy, but down there on that clay surface, man, I'm sliding, it's going sideways half the time. But in theory I should be able to rejoin the road a few hundred meters up, having bypassed the ticket booth. Oh, that's squirrel. Alright, let's see how it goes. Aside from anything else, there's a nice little bypass of the ticket booth. It gets me right down next to the river. I think that's the Athabasca River, I think. Really beautiful, given that I'm going to be on a big road for the next 3 days. But yeah, yesterday and the day before, 2 glorious days of sunshine, and now when it's coming to riding up and over this famous section, the Icefields Parkway, the clouds down, rain, forecast for sleet and snow up on the summits, but so far not too bad. Tomorrow's forecast is worse. I really should know better than bothering to look at the forecast. It doesn't change anything, I've still got to do it. We've got to get to Banff in 3 days' time to meet my friend Steve. So it's going to happen. Whoa, it's a bit rooty to ride one-handed. As much as anything, this is a good test. My off-road skills for when we come to ride some of the Great Divide route, for which I will have better tyres and a lower gear ratio anyway. I'm going to sort that out when I get to Banff. There we go, got some rafters on the river down there. So yeah, there's the road. Just a few more meters. So we get down this embankment. And that's job done. Alright, yeah, thanks to Bruce, my warm show is hosting Jasper, for that little tip-off. We've got about 250 kilometers now up and over to Lake Louise, and then another 50 kilometers down to Banff and Canmore, where I'll stay. Got a couple of days rest before heading on to the Great Divide with Steve. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to see a few glaciers and waterfalls on the way up this road. This is what it's famous for. Alright, let's do it. Heading up the Icefield Parkway proper now. Low cloud all around, but given how bad the forecast was for today, I'm taking this wind, and I have a tailwind. So if you're wondering why so many of these spruce trees are brown, I mean, they're evergreen trees, they're not supposed to change colour really, are they? But there's an infestation of pine beetles going around here apparently, just ripping through the forests of BC and Alberta. I don't know what they can do to contain it, but yeah, that's what's going on. And second day on the Icefields Parkway, and here's the forecast weather. Kind of wet snow. Not too bad, there's no real wind, and it's really beautiful. Can't really get the sense of how big these mountains are all around. But yeah, some huge peaks, 3,000 meters, and glaciers all around. This is the Athabasca River. The road's pretty quiet, so yeah, it's all good, and there's no ice yet. Although I'm going up to about 2,000 meters on this first pass, so I'll have to see how it goes on the descent. But yeah, it's a really beautiful landscape. So the temperature is somewhere just above freezing, I think. It's like 2 degrees, 3 degrees maybe. But in some ways, This is kind of the hardest weather to dress for when riding. Hilly country, so yeah, when I'm climbing I'm putting out a lot of heat, so you got to ventilate to avoid getting sweaty, because if you get sweaty you're going to get cold as soon as you descend. And then on these long descents, even just moving through this cloud, that's really penetrating cold, damp cold. But fortunately all the gear seems to have held out. Yeah, the waterproof overshoes, although they're in tatters now from the spikes on the pedals, absolutely saved my feet yesterday. Yesterday was probably one of the roughest days I had on the bike in a long time. Most of the time it was this was falling as like freezing rain or slushy, sleety rain. So yeah, finishing in the dark in that with a 20-kilometer descent into a headwind. I won't forget that day in a hurry. Fortunately, when I got down to the campground, well, I should say down to the youth hostel turned me away in those conditions. They were full. But the campground had a shelter where a couple of Canadians were installed already, and they had a fire going. So I managed to get all my gear dried out in there. Yeah, mostly downhill today. So today's should be a walk in the park, really, in comparison to yesterday, which was a seriously tough day. But yeah, so far so good. It's kind of reassuring to know that the gear's holding out still, and see what the mountains have in store when we leave Banff. Yay! I made it to Banff! Right on time.